How do dreams come to us? In the last episode, we explained that dreams come from our subconscious mind. While we sleep, our brain processes the events and experiences of the previous day by organizing memories and emotions into various forms of images, symbols, and stories. These images and symbols can come from our personal lives or from collective experiences and archetypes. Everyone spends about 5 years of their life dreaming, even if we don't always remember it the next morning. The word dream probably comes from the Indo-European term drogma, which means a kind of illusion. Our brain creates an illusory world at night. Without getting out of bed, we fly, fight dragons, or sink into the depths. These nocturnal fantasies resemble hallucinations and are the product of an altered state of consciousness. Several times a night, our brain creates scenes, stories, even entire worlds. Most of us have limited control over what goes on in our heads and consider the confusing dream events during sleep to be real. That's why nightmares are so bad, because the fear we experience in them is real. Real and dream threats activate the same brain regions. Dreams are generally accompanied by strong emotions, while our logical thinking and critical judgment take a back seat. That is why even the most absurd twists and turns do not surprise us in dreams. Do you have an interesting dream and don't know what it means? Send it to us, and we will try to answer it in one of the next episodes. Now let's look at your questions, or rather the dream interpretation you asked us for. Ex-girlfriend in a restaurant. The night was quiet and I slept soundly. Suddenly, however, I was startled by an intense dream. In this dream, I was in a restaurant surrounded by a large company. I was sitting at a table with my friends and enjoying my meal. Suddenly, my ex-girlfriend, whom I had not seen for months, appeared. She came up to me and complimented me. "We're lucky to have you," she said with a smile on her lips. It wasn't meant ironically or maliciously. I felt honored, but also a little confused. After all, we had not parted on the best of terms. But then she handed me a small gift and disappeared from my dreams again. The people around me were watching everything closely, and I could literally feel their admiring glances, while my heartbeat grew faster and faster. Carl Jung would interpret this dream as a symbol of the need for recognition and appreciation. The restaurant represents the social life of the dreamer, while the ex-girlfriend embodies his feelings. The fact that she praises and admires him shows that the dreamer longs for recognition and needs confirmation of his own qualities. The gift from the ex-girlfriend is also an important indication of the inner self. It represents not only her appreciation, but also a deeply felt need for affirmation and self-realization. The gift can be seen as a symbol of the kind of reward the dreamer will receive. It can also mean that he is happy to have restored contact with his ex-girlfriend, or even that he has hope for a possible reconciliation. The dream may also reflect his insecurity about his social status or indicate that he fears being publicly rejected or ostracized. The sight of other people in the restaurant unconsciously reflects how much the dreamer fears for his social status. This could indicate that he often measures his own worth by the standards of others. In summary, this dream confirms Carl Jung's theory. It shows us the deeper traits of our subconscious, especially our desires and fears, as well as our unconscious thoughts about ourselves and our relationships with others. Jung spoke of how dreams are often metaphors for our lives, expressing deeply buried desires or fears. In this case, it points to the search for acceptance in the social environment. Finally, this is illustrated by the desire for praise and admiration from an ex-girlfriend. House in ruins. A man told him about a vivid dream that had given him an unpleasant feeling. He saw his house in ruins, as if it had been bombed. The vivid vision of the remains of his house made the dreamer think of war with apprehension. Dream symbolism can often be confusing and difficult to decipher. It seems as if our minds are consciously conveying information to us without using words. And especially with nightmares like this, you wonder, is it already a premonition? Is a war coming to our homeland? But don't worry. The solution lies rather in what homeland means to us. Home symbolizes safety, stability, and security, all the things we want to have firmly anchored in our lives. And that's exactly the point. If you let your fears grow unchecked or get too worked up about difficulties, you risk destroying this foundation and turning your living room into a terrible ruin. Dreams often have a symbolic meaning and can give us clues about our emotional state. If you dream about your house, it may mean that your personality is affected by it. You need to realize that your subconscious is trying to express something. Maybe the man feels insecure or afraid of his surroundings. And maybe this insecurity has been reinforced by news about political unrest or even actual acts of war. A dream about a destroyed house may also reflect a fear of change. It is possible that the man has a problem that he cannot solve, and that is why everything around him is collapsing. There is no need to worry. Dreams are just an expression of what is going on in a person. You have to learn to understand them in order to recognize your fears more easily and get rid of them. You can only be advised to deal with your feelings. It is up to you to overcome your insecurities and achieve a better quality of life. Even though dreams sometimes announce certain connections, you should not blindly interpret them or even attribute them to your own future. This is because the subconscious mind is an extremely complex entity and often mixes fiction with reality to lead us down a certain path of thought. If we ensure that our lives are free of horror scenarios and consciously focus on the positive, then we can live in safety in the future, no matter what the next day brings. And if you've already experienced something terrible, remembering that dream can help you be even more grateful for the safety of the here and now. Am I really pregnant? I dreamed that I was pregnant. Does that mean I am expecting a baby soon? A dream in which you are pregnant does not necessarily mean that you are expecting a baby soon. Dreams are often symbolic and can have different meanings depending on your personal experiences and feelings. Here is a small example in reverse. When dreamer Carl Jung woke up at night, he had a strange feeling. He dreamed that he was pregnant and that his belly was pulsating with life as if a new world was being born. What could this dream mean? Did it really mean that he would soon become a father? For Carl Jung, this was a very interesting subject. During his work as a psychiatrist, he often had to deal with unusual dreams and understood them as manifestations of inner knowledge and creative impulses of the unconscious. Now he wanted to find out the meaning of this particular dream because who knows what deeper message is hidden behind it. After a detailed analysis of his unconscious, Jung was able to find several possible interpretations. First of all, Jung found that pregnancy in general has a positive meaning. It represents creativity, new ideas, and the potential for development. Being a child represents the potential for continued development. Another aspect to consider is the role of gender in our dream type. Pregnancy traditionally has a feminine connotation, a project or something that is in a stage of movement/steps, which forces us to think of the possibilities of silent reflection here as well. Based on these reflections, two possibilities were offered. One is to surrender to creative needs and move toward ever greater responsibility, independent of previous ideas. The dream of a pregnant woman or man can also symbolize that he is assigned life roles that he has previously perceived as specifically feminine, and now discovers them in himself. In this case, it makes sense to pay a little more attention to him. In any case, this dream is not a bad sign. On the contrary, it is a good sign of inner potential and the ability to develop further. And who knows? Maybe a new job is waiting for the dreamer soon, where he can apply all this. The dream can also mean that you feel the need to take care of something or be responsible for something. Pregnancy can also be associated with growth and change, so the dream can indicate that you are preparing for a positive change in your life. It can mean that you feel that something new is being born or coming into the world, be it an idea, a business, or a wonderful relationship. Labyrinth. I had the feeling of being in a kind of labyrinth. I ran and could not find the way out. The dream was accompanied by a feeling of trepidation. What could this mean? This dream is definitely to be congratulated. Your subconscious mind has given you an extremely interesting dream that reveals a lot about your inner world. The labyrinth is often a symbol of life itself. We never know exactly which path to take and which decisions are the right ones. It can also be a sign that you are in a difficult or confusing situation. A dream about a labyrinth is a symbolic and meaningful dream that gives you important messages about your inner world. In psychology, there are different interpretations of the dream symbol labyrinth. The labyrinth often represents the journey we must take within ourselves to find our true nature. It can also mean that you feel lost in your life right now, or that you have a decision to make. The fact that you did not find a way out in your dream may indicate that you feel you have no control over your situation or your own life. The anxiety you felt in your dream may indicate that you are finding this situation very stressful and are having a hard time coping with it. You may feel constricted or helpless, like a small child in the dark. However, there can be a positive side to this experience. As you walk through the maze and search for the exit, you can learn to cope with uncertainty and confusion. By embarking on the journey and taking it one step at a time, you can discover what is hidden behind the walls. It may also mean that it's time to break new ground or take on new perspectives. Perhaps there is something in your life that you would like to change or that you believe is not right for you. It is also possible that this perception of getting lost in a complex maze indicates that something unconscious is blocking your progress. For example, an event from the past or a traumatic event. Your dream experience is asking you to look more inward and clear old blocks. Do not worry and do not be too hard on yourself. This dream shows that you are ready to face difficult challenges and move forward courageously. This process can be difficult and take a lot of time. If you get through it, you will come out stronger in the end and know that you can achieve anything you set your mind to. We look forward to seeing you again and talking about your dreams. If you have an unresolved dream that you would like to share with us, please write us about it. You can find the email address in the video description. You will soon find the most interesting dreams and their analysis on the Spirit Stream channel.